Hello, Gary Occhino here, showing you how to shoot lower scores, guaranteed, so you can have consistency, power, and more fun. Today we're going to talk about what I consider to be the most important fundamental in golf. Now, contrary to what the magazines are going to tell you, and maybe even some other professionals, this is a law. It's the most important thing to be able to do. It takes precedence over your grip and your alignment and your posture and everything else. If you can't do this, you will be inconsistent, you will be powerless, and your ball is going to fly all over the place. So this is the most important fundamental to learning great golf. Let's get you started with the right swing mechanics. The key concept we're going to talk about for your golf swing, fundamental number one, is called centeredness. Centeredness, simply defined, is your ability to stay centered or pivot without shifting to the right and to the left, so you can hit a constant spot on the ground each time and have excellent impact, which is going to lead to more consistent strikes and more power. So a very simple way to illustrate centeredness, I have this yellow stick here. My target is this way. I put this stick perpendicular to it. A very simple way to illustrate centeredness is your ability to keep your nose on the stick or on the ball. So when you make a turn or a pivot, you're right here. You're not moving to the right. There's no weight shift. This isn't baseball. And contrary to what maybe some other golf professionals have told you or what you read in magazines, there's no weight shift in golf. It doesn't happen. So we need to learn how to stay centered so we can hit the same spot each time. If I'm centered, I'm going to make a clean strike both in my short game and in my full swing. So before we get into the golf swing and the swing drills that you need to do, let's talk about the proper setup for both when the ball is on the ground, for your irons and fairway woods, and for when it's on a tee, for when you use your driver, so you can have the differentiation there. The setup's very simple, probably something a little bit different than you've heard before. Again, we specialize in different, but in a good way. You take a bow first. Most students are trying to bend their knees too much. That is totally wrong. If you're trying to stay down, the way you stay down is by bowing, not by bending your knees so much. That makes you a spring and actually makes you come up. So there's an ironic twist there. So we're going to bow first. Take a bow so that your spine has a certain angle. Whatever that angle might be will change with the club. And then, very important key, you bend your left leg a little bit more than your right for your knee flex. So it's bow first, then bend your left leg a little bit more. You'll see why that's important in a minute, but it helps you turn better and make the proper pivot. So in terms of maybe parts, bend this 3 parts to 2 parts. Just slightly more on the left than the right. Bow, left flex a little more than the right. Now let your hands drop so that your hands are below your shoulders and there's some angle between the club shaft and the forearms. Popular issues are this, meaning you're all in sort of one plane. That makes the wrong wrist action during the swing. We need to have it down. And another popular issue we see is hands in too much, meaning they're inside the legs. So hands below the shoulders. That is the setup for the fairway shots and the irons. Next I'll give you the driver setup. The big difference when you're setting up for a driver is very simple but very important. You take the same setup, forward tilt, left flex a little more than the right, head right here, so we're not like setting way in front of the ball, head right here. Now the big difference is you take your hips and just push them a little bit fractionally like that. A little hip bump. That sets your spine on an angle to sweep the ball. We do not need that for the iron. So again, one more time, the big difference is when you get your driver, it's still forward tilt, left flex a little more than the right, bump the hip. That will give you a more sweeping blow where you need to be. Irons, you don't do that. As far as the golf swing goes, there are a couple really important concepts you need to know. Then I'll show you the exact drills you can do to achieve those concepts. This is going to be extremely important toward your consistency and toward your power. The most important concept is to understand, once we take that initial bow in the golf swing, we turn around our spine. So my spine is on this angle that I'm denoting with the club. We turn around that angle. The golf swing does not work around the ground. We don't flatten out our shoulders. So many people have trouble. They flatten out their shoulders, then they start to get over the top in their swing, or then have to kind of use their arms and hands and swat at it. You're robbing yourself of power and consistency. Here's how it should work. Take your setup, then learn to turn around that spine angle. You'll notice at the top of my swing, my left shoulder is a little below my right. And you'll also notice from the standpoint of my lower body, my left knee has popped out a little bit and my right leg has straightened. That is correct. Now I don't want you to lock it out, but it's straightened naturally. It's straightened a little bit. Here's why. If golf was played around the ground, we played up here, sort of sweeping the ball off the table, everything would be real level. The hips would rotate level, the shoulders would rotate level. It's not the case. The minute we tilt forward in golf, we rotate on a tilted axis. That means the left side works down a little and the right side works up a little. That's natural. That's exactly how it should work to have the proper centered pivot. Another key point for centeredness is where your head stays. It's very important to keep your head on the golf ball. We do not shift in golf. There's no movement to the right. The spine and the head do not move. So if I move to the right, it would look like this. That is wrong. We stay centered on top of the golf ball. So what I want to be doing when I swing is I want to put my nose right on the ball and keep it there. That's going to keep me centered. That's the proper motion. So a good way to envision this would be pretend there's a string from your nose to the ball. When you're swinging, keep the string the same distance. Too many of you go like this. You flatten out your shoulders, you pull your head out of the way, you're in the wrong spot. Keep the distance from the nose to the ball the same. That'll help you a lot. Here are some simple drills you can do to achieve the centeredness that we're looking for. A few seconds each day that'll help you tremendously. Again, they'll help you hit the same spot each time and give you some good power. Drill number 1, take the club across your shoulders and just simply turn so that the butt end of the club is pointing outside the ball about 18 to 24 inches. If you do it incorrectly, you're going to wind up over here. Looks like you're shooting over there in the woods. That's not right. See how I flatten out my shoulders? So learn to pivot like this. Again, you'll notice my left leg popped out and my right leg grew a little bit. So that's good drill number 1. Drill number 2 is just to take any object that's perpendicular to the ball. So again, my target's that way. Just simply take any object, lay it on the ground, and practice keeping your nose on it. So you just simply turn like that. Very, very simple. Now the third one you can do is just a visual. Pretend you're looking out over the edge of a pool, like I'm looking down into a pool or over a cliff. I want to see how deep that pool is, or I want to see what's over the cliff. And just practice making swings, feeling like you're staying tilted over the edge of the pool. I don't recommend actually doing it in the pool. You might fall in or down the cliff, but you get the idea. So those are some drills you can do for centeredness. Please enjoy your drills. As I've indicated a few times before, a little bit each day is helpful. The body and the brain like daily quality. Don't need lots of balls over and over and over. We'll address other concepts here in some subsequent videos, but the key right now is just a little bit each day. That's going to be a huge differentiator. And speaking of which, you're going to learn more in the next videos coming up about why this program is different, and why the My Last Golf Lesson Ever program is different for you, what the benefits will be. So be on the lookout for more information coming real soon.